Thank you so much for this invitation. And I'm quite privileged, actually, to be able to share a little bit of my story. I started LifeWave in May 2022. When I first started LifeWave, actually, the person who introduced LifeWave to me, I rejected him 3 times. Yeah. So that's not something that I would advise anyone to follow suit, because LifeWave. I mean, I regret, actually. I should have joined a few months earlier already, but because I rejected him, um, yeah. So I'm a few months behind, but better late than never. Why I joined, actually, was not even because I had some health issues, or there was something I was trying to resolve from the health perspective. It was actually for another person, who I was doing a little bit of online teaching, lecturing, and a student of mine, was ill, together with her partner, and from there, we built, that relationship. We were wondering, whether there was any business that we could get into, but it just so happened that she fell ill. She was so ill to the point that she couldn't even walk to the toilet without her children aiding her. And then she couldn't take supplements, couldn't take medicine, because of various conditions in the past. So that was when the person who was trying to introduce me to LifeWave, he called me again because Lee Jin Long was coming to Singapore. And I just, yeah, the timing was just there. It was quite incredible that sometimes the universe or God or whoever you believe in, conspires, to put you on a particular path, that it's quite difficult for you to say no. And in this case, it's not because of me, but then it was because of this person. So I went, for his seminars, and he's an amazing person to listen to. um, so at the end of the day, it was like day 2, day 3. He had subsequent meetings, borrowed a few patches from James Lowe, and then gave it to her partner Jackie, who patched this friend of mine. And lo and behold, the next day, she called me up to say, what did you give me? Couldn't get out of bed, for 6 days. And all of a sudden, she had the energy, she had the appetite. She went for a walk. So it all started from there. Um, so it tested the product, and that's how the universe works. When I bought the first package, all of a sudden there were people around me, who seemed to need help. So I just gave them the patches. I didn't know anything about the patches. I just started patching myself. But I started seeing results, and out of, like, I don't know, 12, 15 people I shared with, 8, 10 of them came back to me, to start asking, like, hey, I had a cough and this improved. I had this, that, or other, and my situation is improved. So I became quite curious about this, and in about June or so, when Jackie and Wendy joined me, we said, hey, okay, let's spread the word, since this is helping. This seems to be helping a lot of people. So we started meeting quite a lot of people. So I'm going to start my slides from here. Okay. So yeah, so in June, July, August of 2022, we actually started sharing, more widely with folks around. But this is where people think, okay, since you have such a great product and all this, it'll be very easy. Yes, it was very easy to share. But at the same time, um, you know, um, the people whom we shared with, at the beginning, for whatever reason, yeah, we were not having too much success. Yeah. But having said that, so while we were faced with quite a lot of disappointment, within a month, I think within a month or so, I was still promoted to manager. And Jackie and Wendy also, they subsequently became managers. Within about 3 months, I became director. Even when we seem, to have been, we were facing, quite a few challenges, when we shared with people who insisted, that, if they had to join, they have to be given certain privileges and all this. Then we realized that to say, hey, hold on, we should be looking for the people who are really, firstly, of course, they have issues, there's a need, but secondly, that they have a heart. Yeah. that the people who would succeed in this business, were willing to join this business, actually probably think beyond themselves. Yeah, they want really sincerely want to help people. So we went actually on a different track, but it doesn't mean that it became smooth after that. We will still. This was one of our first gatherings in November. Um, so again, we invited people. This was the size of the group, actually. Maybe slightly larger than that. By the time November rolled around, we probably had about, I don't know, 200 people in our group. Um, we tried many things. Yeah, we got ourselves invited and into these network marketing, not network marketing, but networking groups. Like this one on the left here, I gave a presentation to this group that there were about 50 people, and again, nobody joined except for one, but later on, yeah. And then on the right, we even did events, booths, and so this one was actually at a country club. So we went there, we patched, we set up a booth, um, and there was no results from there also. Yeah. We but you well, I just wanted to point out here, yeah, that so you see the arrows here. The gentleman is Jackie, and the lady here is Wendy. So these are the two. In fact, it was Wendy whom I patched. She was my very very first um, white rabbit, if you want to put it that way. And we went through, right at the beginning, and especially for the first 6 months, some of the most hairiest moments where we tried so many things. We went to so many, got ourselves invited into so many different events or participated, in, such as this. But we had not gotten much results. It's not that we didn't get any results, yeah. But somewhere in October, November, because Singapore was new, and at the time there was only James and Lawrence who was doing, our OPP, and then with Alice and one or two others. So I was asked, whether I wanted to. So I said, hey, why not? So this was just a picture. This is a picture of me in Lavender office. So that was, and we are so thankful again to Lee Chin Dong, because he helped us. And, we don't, until today, actually, we don't have a Singapore office yet, although it's coming on stream probably by the end of this year. So we are hoping, of course, that it will be by, but okay, I think it's better to, under promise and over deliver. The general manager, Casey Howe, has already made 2 trips to Singapore. So we have already identified that 1 or 2 places that hopefully, a bunch of us who know some of the options, we are hoping, that it's one, not the other. But okay, back to this again. So in October, thereabouts, I put myself forward, as one of the speakers, sharing, OPP and the comp plan. So this is just one, and I got an arrow here. So it's very interesting, yeah, because all these people here, only 2 of them, were my invitees. The rest, were other people, and we started really small. In fact, there were 1 or 2 occasions, where I was all prepared to present, but there was only one person, or there was one occasion where actually nobody turned up. Yeah. So some people were asking me and said, hey, you want to present, you want to spend so much time actually presenting to such a small group. Is it, worth your time at all? But a bunch of us, and I must say this, that we have quite a very tight-knitted group right now, especially, at the leadership level, where we've decided, that we not only work for our team, but then we want to work for LifeWave Singapore. We want to make sure, that LifeWave Singapore, is really going to be that beacon of light, starting with this region. And, if we can be that beacon of light for the world, why not? And then, there are other benefits as well. I realized, okay, I got to invite 2 friends in this case, and the arrow points to this one person who is very quiet, and he is such a cynical person. But guess what? To cut a long story short, he helped me to start right now, I've got people, I've got users, and very consistent users in Canada. Yeah, so in Canada, in Europe, there's one or two people there. In Hong Kong, then just through this one very cynical person who was asking a million questions and who came back like 5 times, and I had to stay back with him, for 2 hours to 3 hours, because he had just too many questions. So one just never knows. Yeah. So, what I've learned from here is that, we do our part, and by just wanting to contribute and make things better and make lives better, that's what sometimes, that's how magic can happen. Okay. This was actually our first get together, nearer to Christmas. And as you can see, it's still that very small group. And out of that small group, these are the exes, because all these people are no longer with us. In fact, many of them didn't even join in the first place. Okay. But we decided, that no matter what, we will still continue to share, to do what we can, to make that one life better, one day at a time. Now, this doesn't look very pretty, but it's because I did this. So this was 2023, Chinese New Year. Yeah, so you can see, this looks really horrible when I look at it, but I decided, to just show this because. At that time, we were small, so I had to put something together. So I started learning Canva and said, okay, let's see what I can do with this. We need to. There was a pressure in time as well. So this was our first. Um, we call it lo hei, which is a tradition in Chinese New Year where we do a toss up. So you can see that we had this one tray where the whole bunch of us just go around. I mean, we just stand around, and shout words to welcome the new year, welcome luck, and all that stuff. Yeah. See this arrow here. So I managed to connect, with there's two ladies from my past. So they were in my past company that I started with. And was with, they got good products, and we all know, right? That there are good products out there. But we formed a relationship. We became quite good friends, and they took a leap of faith, and because they were, in fact, all of us, were tired of MLM, from our last company. In fact, my wife was saying, okay, no more. Yeah, she will never join another MLM. And the same also with these two ladies. Yeah, but when I spoke to them about LiveWave, when they started started using the patches, use it on other people, then they became quite curious. But they were very, how do you say? They were very selective, yeah, of who they wanted to partner with because, of their previous experience. So I'm very privileged, that subsequently the both of them joined. And with that, all of a sudden, they started sharing amongst the network. So this is actually a picture of our new office. You can see that it's more swanky. Yeah, it looks cleaner even, because the first one was actually at a conservation building. So it was a very old building. Some even said, that it was haunted. So in some ways, we were glad that we moved out of that place, into some place that is so airy, clean, bright. And maybe, the feng shui changed. I don't know. Yeah. But this office is also sponsored by Chinlong. So I just want to, show my gratitude again, by mentioning this. It seats about 30, 35, maybe you can squeeze in about 40 people. And Yen and Cindy, brought their group over. I gave presentations to them. And before you know it, they became really interested. They, asked, for more private meetings to understand better. And so this is their group. The arrows point to two other ladies within the group who are right now also our speakers. So, quite a short period of time, all of a sudden, in our group alone, we have, what's that, five speakers, for OPP, for business, and what's that, and yeah, so for us, it's like, wow, okay, they're coming forward. That's amazing already by itself. So we did things like we even created our own polo T-shirt. We wore it, to our events, and then we started really aggressively saying, okay, we need to spread the word even more. So we went into households. We did patching parties. This is Yen doing her first one. Never did it before. Don't like to stand in front of a crowd, but guess what? So many of them actually, just stepped forward. They were just willing, to challenge their own comfort zones. Okay. We did what we call patching parties. Yeah. So just to, okay. So this is another picture of, so this, in this one, actually, you see all the people here, all the people here actually, are almost all of them actually, are from our group. Yeah. So we started being able to fill that room, and whenever we have OPPs nowadays, especially even up to today, while there are other groups, that bring people, but more often than not, our team and their prospects actually occupy at least 50%, if not more, yeah, of all the attendees there. So again, I'm very grateful for the team, for believing in LiveWave and believing the cause, the mission, our purpose. So as I was mentioning, we so I put this up. So this was our first two patching parties. So we had to come up with what's that? An invitation. So look at this. It's such a mess. My God, I tell you. And then after that, my wife took over. So you can see the difference here. Yeah, between these two. Yeah. So so my wife took pity on me to say, okay, let me help you with this. So we came out with catchy names, whether it's Patch Works, Patch Perfect, Patch Care. Put it out, and it just grew bigger. People were so keen because they saw and they knew, yeah, that we are probably one of the few, if not the only product and company that are willing to or dare to patch somebody with pain with the expectation, that we're going to see very quick results. And most of the time, as we all know here, um, the results come, within seconds, maybe, 1 or 2 minutes. And even, even if somebody has not felt it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the person goes back to the seat. More often than not, within the 15, 20 minutes, the person says, hey, I feel so different right now. Yeah. So it was so fascinating. We started helping so many people, and in this picture, there's Joanna's, the Serene's, the Jessica's, yeah, Cindy, Yen, Charles. So they started benefiting them, in their own different conditions that they were experiencing, and people around them, started experiencing it as well. So from here, the patching parties, just grew bigger and bigger. So this was okay. So this is Tin Long next to me, the one in black. For those of you who are not aware, so he came, sometime in was that in May? Oh, by that time, actually, it was in what's that? December 2022 that I was promoted to senior director already. So even though we were a small group, um, we were growing, and it was enough for me, to rank up to senior director in December 2022. That's right. So it was like, okay, it took me 6 months. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the slowest. I hope I'm not the slowest. um,
You're not
You're not
rolling.
rolling.
I'm not okay. But it was a natural progression, and because of my background, I was a corporate person for decades. Yeah. And in the first company that I joined, and by the way, that was also by accident. It was more because of the product, and it benefited my wife especially. And then after that, we took it on, as a business. But then I never cared about rank. Yeah. But when I came here, I realized and say, hey, okay, this is very different because the rank, in the other company, unfortunately, many people buy. Yeah. So I think you would have heard about this. There's some environments, where people buy, their ranks. So I totally disagreed with them. And, for me, it wasn't that important. Yeah. But in this case, I felt, hey, okay, this is organic. This is something, that is effort, it is team. And not only that, it is something that I need to do because it is good for my team. It's not only for myself. Yeah. Um, um, the principles behind it is very different. It's all about role modeling. It's all about setting an example, which is more important in LifeWave, than in, at least, in the other company that I was with. So, in this context here, Lee Chin Long was giving a training, and we filled the entire room. In fact, we had a wait list. Yeah, there were so many other people who wanted to come, but they couldn't. In fact, we had to split them, and Lee Chin Long is one really super powerhouse. His energy level is really so amazing. He held like 5 trainings in a day. Each training was like 1.5, 2 hours. He just went at it, until 10 p.m. at night. So he is somebody, whom, with the things that he does, giving flyers, standing, in the bus stop, actually giving flyers, like that happened, I think, in 2022, and he was already an SPD. So, we are just inspired by him and by his attitude. So, whatever we need to do for the betterment of our team and for the betterment of LifeWave Singapore, it will not be beneath us. Yeah. So I think a lot of the senior leaders here, I hope, you agree with that. So anyway, we continued on. We had so many patching parties and home parties. And every time we finish one, we go to the next, so it was almost non-stop. Yeah. One after another, we organized, we wanted the word out, we wanted to help people on the spot. And this was in KL. Yeah, this was May. Yeah, that's right. So this was in May 2023. So you can see this bevy of beautiful ladies. They're sporting our polo t-shirt already. So we went up, as quite a sizable group. And yeah, so we just decided, okay, we just need to find any occasion, any excuse, to make sure that we have people coming together as often as we can. Um, so we even ventured. So this was a presentation that I did because my wife is Vietnamese. Yeah, so we actually did an event in Hanoi as well. Patched people, with 95% or 98% success. um, yeah, had small group meetings, so it really doesn't matter. In fact, somebody asked me this question. They say, "Hey, Jonas, you're already so busy right now. So, do you only cater, to like, whenever there's groups of 10, then you make your appearance?" So I thought that was a very good question. Actually, I told the person, I said, frankly, where I'm concerned, it's not about numbers. It's not only about numbers. It's also about, the other person. So if somebody needs help, I'm not going to say no. Yeah. If it's a genuine help that is required, or, if it is somebody who's very sincere, who wants to see me, it's a one-on-one, and I'm fine with that. Yeah. No matter how busy, I think, this is something within our leadership group, and we call ourselves, by the way, Team Live Well. So again, we went democratic with that. We had a small competition when we were selecting our team name, and we chose that one. So the main point here is that it's really not about us; it's about the other person. So it's not me. Really, it's all about others. Um, Now, why I showed this group was because most of the people that came out here was actually through that one person. So I just want to acknowledge this person also. His name is Peter Jalal. Um, so he and it's this gentleman here. Okay, so he patched and he saw the benefits. He experienced the benefits. He saw the benefits. When his family members started patching. So he brought his whole troop, his whole troop, which included actually, he was a Grab captain. Yeah. So right now we have roughly about 300 Grab drivers running around Singapore that they're actually using our patches. And they continue to benefit from it. We are helping them because, Grab driving is very grueling. Yeah. Long hours on the road, seated there. Sometimes you want to go to the toilet, you can't. And then, when you're seated there, for such a long time, it's very, very tiring. Yeah. So, long period of time already, your back aches, your leg aches, there's no feeling in your legs, all this other stuff, and they got targets to hit, right? So we've helped quite many of them, um, yeah, to hit their targets, so they can bring money back, to their family, and to do so, with as little pain and discomfort, with more energy, just through our patches. Okay, so the patching went on. By the way, this lady here, I want to acknowledge her as well. She's Judy. Oh, by the way, some of these names that I mentioned, all of them are directors already. So um, right now in our group, we probably have, I don't know, 25, 27, maybe even 30 directors. I need to count it again. um, so, because of the belief in the product, in LifeWave, and in our community, in our little Live Well family, so I hope, that they continue to prosper and to progress, in our community. So she also brought in her bunch of people, many patching sessions that she organized, and really some of them, are using the patches, quite well already. Okay, now, so we started patching as well, the corporate. So we went corporate. We continue with the patching parties. We have youngest member here. It's actually my daughter. So we did a lot of things. We made videos. We put it out. So this is just one of the videos that we made. I don't know whether you can hear this or not. You couldn't. Okay, that's fine. All right. Oh, sorry. All right. Okay, let's move on. So we even sponsored a futsal clinic. Okay. So we tried so many things, and we were willing to. So one thing which, again, I give a lot of credit to, especially to Jackie and to Wendy and her group, and then with Cindy and Yen, we're willing to experiment. Yeah, we're willing to try different things. Because even though we don't sometimes enjoy the benefit or get the results that we want at that point in time, there are two folds. One is, in Singapore, LifeWave is actually still pretty new. So there needs to be this awareness, that we can spread, and we want people, as many people as possible, to know about LifeWave, because it is good for LifeWave overall. And secondly, it's plenty of fun. Yeah. So whatever that we can do to interact with people, to form new relationships, because at the end of the day, that's what really counts to us. It's really all about relationships. So the the patching continued. This is a community center on the north side of Singapore. So we patch a whole bunch of people there. Okay, so as I mentioned, right now these are our speakers, and we continue to introduce new things. Like, for instance, this gentleman here, Mr. Amir. So he is our first Bahasa Melayu speaker. Yeah. So in Singapore, we don't have that. And I just we decided that this is important, because we need to also serve our Malay community. Amir is a very well qualified individual, of course, from the Malay community himself, and yeah, he really he stepped up. Yeah, he agreed. He says, yes, we need to do more for the Malay community here. So he does this right now, once a month or once every 3 weeks, and then we will grow from there. Jackie does the Chinese one, so he's one of and his Chinese is amazing anyway. So so he is one of the primary speakers, and we have Jessica, and then we have Joanna. Jessica also, practically every 2 weeks or so, she's doing a BOP, as we call it here. Joanna, she has just started, and she does also the business aspect of it. Okay. Then sometime in September last year, we decided to do what we call a midi. So it's not a mini, it's not a mega event, but it's somewhere in between. Yeah. So this, we started looking for venues, that could accommodate about 80, 70 to 80 people. And I think we started, if I'm not wrong, we were the first group, yeah, that did this. I hope I'm right. Yeah, I couldn't find, previous information on this. I think we started, in September. So we were the first group that did the presentation, did the patching. We organized, that event for about 70, 80 people. And the turnout was so good. It was full house. I mean, we've grown to such an extent. By the way, this is for Singapore. This is not only for our team Live Well. Okay. Now, um, our growth has been really quite phenomenal. So for some of you who know, LifeWave Singapore actually won the best growth country globally in
Yeah,
2023. Yeah.
very true.
So imagine this, that small little dot. Of course, the critics and the cynics, would say, you started with a very small base anyway, so it's easy for you. Well, there are many other countries, that started with small bases, but they didn't win the award. But we and James Low here, is our first SPD. So he is the de facto head in the absence of any general manager. Although, we have, Casey House sitting in Malaysia as a general manager for both Malaysia and Singapore. But from, with James, with Janet, with Lawrence, and then, with the rest of the senior leadership team, all of us working together. And of course, in our own teams, we decided, that we want to make Singapore really, really different and for Singapore to stand out. Okay, so coming to 2024. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. So how much have we progressed, and despite the many setbacks that we have experienced? So this is our Low Hay 2024. Yeah. So I just want to put side by side. So this was 2023. So it's 1 year. It's exactly 12 months. Okay. Where we started, and I suppose, to those faint-hearted, after working so hard for the 6, 7 months and not seeing the explosive growth that most people would expect, maybe some people would have given up. But I'm so glad, that we continued on. So that's where in 2023 we have so many other leaders who join us. Yeah. Whether it's Pete, well, I already mentioned Peter, Esmond, Desmond, Kenny, and so many others, who came on board in 2023. So this was a Low Hay. We actually started with that one tray, and right now, we had to have 4 trays of food, for us to play around with. And just looking at the more professional aspects of the invitation, where we started off with me, trying to put something together, and right now, we could see the changes that is happening slowly but surely. Now, in just last week, yeah, we restarted. Of course, after all the festivities and all, we restarted the MIDI in March. So Akiko Nelson's group, they managed that. And in April, our group, our Live Well group, managed this. And we decided, that, hey, let's make it even bigger. Yeah. And this time round, we are also very privileged because we not only were talking, as independent distributors, but we also had a guest doctor speaker. Okay. And that's Dr. Timothy. I think, he's on a call. So he's decided as well, to share about the science of GHKCU. And that's where we, so we, the meeting is supposed to be 80 people. Yeah. And because of the overwhelming response, we decided that we're going to have 2 sessions. So we actually did 2 sessions of this media event in the same day, in the morning and in the afternoon. And that's where really I tell you the team stepped up. And Dr. Roy, you were mentioning just now about your laptop and strange things happening when you least expect it. So
Yeah, you know.
when we were preparing for this event, again, strange things happen. Yeah, I went down, all of a sudden, with an eye infection on a Wednesday. So I had one bulging eye that was
Oh
very
no.
that was very obvious. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then one of my speakers lost her voice, and yeah, so there was the strange things that happened during that time as well. One of our sharers, became unwell. Our testimonial sharers.
Mm,
Um, yeah, but somehow or other things worked out. Yeah. So I managed to recover, and that was really by the grace of God.
amen.
Just in time, really in the nick of time, because I got this infection on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday it was still swollen, but on a Saturday morning, the swell went. So this time round, our media, all of a sudden we realized that we are probably not coining it correctly, because this was actually bigger than a mega in Singapore. When we put the numbers together, we had 350 people. You can see, it was really, for the morning, it was absolutely full house with about 150 people, and we had about 200 people in the afternoon. We had, I mentioned about one of our speakers, losing a voice. So, okay, she couldn't do the morning, but she decided, and that was Jessica, to still do, even though she only had about 30 to 40% of her voice. She said, no, I'm still going to do it. Yeah. She went ahead, she presented, and we had another speaker, first time in front of such a big group. And she held it all together, and she presented beautifully, in two of the sessions. Yeah. So I want to mention this because we are in a people business. Yeah. So this is where, if we find, the right people, we really need to be so grateful and to really cherish them and encourage
Amen.
them. Yeah. And give them chances, give them that opportunity to shine. So with that, I'm sorry, that I've taken a little bit more time than allotted to me.